It's now time, ladies and gentlemen, to present a very special award, the prestigious Lifetime Achievement Award.
Hello, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be doing this for my good friend. Peter Kaye has done so much, and I'm going to start at the beginning. When London-born Peter Kaye left school, he became a commercial artist. But like most teenage boys, he wanted to be a pop singer, like the British legends of the time, Sir Cliff Richard, Tommy Steele and Adam Faith. He began singing in local pubs and was spotted by agent Sid Royce, who took him under his wing and started to create an act for him. For this, of course, he needed arrangements, so Sid called a singer-arranger from a group called the Four Ramblers, who just happened to be the now famous Irish singer Val Doonican. Peter was working on the song Mac the Knife, and Sid insisted Peter show his routine to Val. So, wearing a specially bought hat for the routine, Peter entered stage right, in this case Sid's office door, placed himself in front of Sid's desk, centre stage, and began to sing. At a certain point, Peter would remove his hat and throw it into the wings, stage left. So he removed his hat, threw it left, and it flew straight out of an open window. The office was situated on the first floor, so the hat landed on the top of a red double-decker London bus and was never seen again. Val left the office in fits of laughter, and Peter had to buy a new hat. Years later, Peter made his television debut on Val Doonican's BBC TV show, and much later Val appeared on Peter's Saturday Night Live TV show. Peter did make one record, a single called You Doll, with Do Me a Favour on the B-side. And in those days, records were made of vinyl, and Peter tells us his record didn't sell very well. In fact, he says it was in the shop so long that the hole in the centre healed up. He continued on as a pop singer and later a comedian impressionist, and while performing during a summer season's review in Jersey in the Channel Islands, that's where he met his lovely wife, Sue, who is a talented singer and dancer. Yes, give her a round of applause. And at that time, she was appearing with Frank Ifield at Swanson's Hotel and The Water Splash. During the same season, two of the UK's biggest singing stars at the time, Dickie Valentine and Ruby Murray, suggested to England's biggest theatrical agent, the Bernard Delfont Agency, to take a look at Peter. They did. And through them, Peter played most of England's theatres, including the famous London Palladium, with many stars such as American singer Jack Jones and later with Acker Bilk. He was also a great success in Canada with the London Palladium production show starring British singing star Frankie Vaughan. He went from strength to strength with TV shows, pantomime, summer seasons, along with his now wife, Sue. He was then approached by the producer of one of the world's longest-running musical shows, the Black and White Minstrel Show, and for 3 years was engaged as the show's comedian, and Sue became one of the television toppers and featured vocalist at the Victoria Palace, London, alongside Australian comedy juggler Rob Murray and the Seven Ashtons. Peter and Sula described this as one of the best sections of their lives. Between shows, Peter spent his time creating paintings of some of the cast members, and towards the end of that period, Sue spent her time creating their son, Guy. Peter also featured as host, comedian and compere of the BBC TV series of the Black and White Minstrel Show until the producer's death in 1974, when the show was drawing to a close as it became, would you believe, politically incorrect. From there, Peter and Sue came to Australia in the very successful Merry Minstrel Show, which toured Australia and New Zealand for a year to the day after its opening at South Sydney Juniors. They became lifelong friends with the show's juggling act, the Raybons, and Ray and Bonnie are here tonight, and I'd like to invite Ray to say a few words about his good friend. Please welcome Ray.
I was always told, if you can't say anything nice about somebody, don't say anything at all. Good night. Peter Kaye is no stranger to comedy, just laughter. Bonnie and I first met Pete Sue and Guy 40 years ago in 1975 when we toured New Zealand and Australia for 12 months with the Merry Minstrel Show. It's hard to believe Guy was only 2.5 years old, and Pete and Sue, as you were told, had finished their season for 5 years at the Victoria Palace with the Black and White Minstrel Show in London. Well, on the tour that we had with Pete and Sue, we had many good times, and we had lots of after-show suppers, drinking cream de cacao, playing board games, and we built up a great friendship that has lasted all this time. Sue was the soubrette, and Peter, or Cuddles, as the ballet called him, was the star of the show, with jokes out of the Noah's Ark joke book. And Peter was also doing impressions of famous people doing impressions of Peter Kaye. After tour, Pete and Sue returned to England, but they soon returned back to Australia to live, and Peter started to make his own masks. Then we had Peter on stage, looking like somebody famous, doing impressions of Peter Kaye. Peter told me later, we were the reason they came back to live in Australia. He said if a crappy old juggling act could have a house, a car and a swimming pool, this is where he was going to live. When they returned, our friendship grew so that Pete and Sue became one of our very best friends, and we've had many great times and many laughs together. We've also been to cremations at their house. Oh, he liked to call them barbecues, but believe me, they were cremations. But I can no longer bag his barbecues. After they become naturalised, Pete became Dinky Di. He now stands at the barbecue with a stubby in his hand while Sue does the cooking. I could not believe the effort he put into his craft, creating and making the masks, writing, directing and producing shows such as Copycats, and over the years other new shows, and assisting new talent with their acts. Pete generated a lot of work for many of us entertainers. He even had time to learn a couple of more jokes. He found a lost page out of the Noah's Ark joke book. Peter is still working to this day and has now become a sex symbol for women who no longer care. Pete has done more for this industry in Australia than any other person I know of, and is a worthy recipient of this honour. Pete, congratulations. I am in awe of your many, many talents. Keep healthy. I love you like a brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. As Ray mentioned, Peter and Sue fell in love with Australia. They became Australian residents, returning a year later with Peter performing in the Tokyo Cherry Blossom Show. They made their home in Sydney, and Peter toured the country with names such as Frank Ifield, Gene Pitney, Cole Joy, Chubby Checker, The Monkees, and many more high-profile and overseas entertainers. He also made numerous guest appearances on TV shows across Australia. And it was around this time Peter had the idea to make those masks of the characters he portrayed. With his artistic ability for painting and sculpture, he proceeded to embark on a journey that defined him as one of the world's unique entertainers. In 1985, Peter created his very successful and very unique production show Copycats for Hobart Casino with Tina Robinson and Mixed Company and Jacques René. Still in demand for TV, he'd often appear as the host of those shows in his masks. Peter was then asked to present Copycats at the Bankstown Theatre restaurant, so he teamed up with another great friend, choreographer and now producer, the one and only Fiona Gage. Together, they updated the show ready for a 6-month run, and due to its success, the show was extended twice and ran for 18 months. With Peter and Fiona regularly adding new characters and routines. Copycats went on to tour throughout Australia, eventually finishing in Perth. Peter then joined forces with musical director John Charter, writing, producing and directing 4 production shows for Stepping Out Theatre Restaurant in Penrith. Escape to the Rock and Roll Planet, Turnaround Time, The Spirit of Rock and Roll and Dr. Feelgood's Fun Factory, all featuring great talents and good friends too numerous to mention, and many of whom are here tonight. including Peter and Sula's talented son, Guy Taylor. After the Stepping Out shows, Peter returned to Bankstown Theatre Restaurant to produce one more show called Laugh Attack, with Peter Dean, Bobby Dennis, Johnny Pace and the late Lester and Smart. Peter was encouraged to venture into the corporate circuit by scriptwriter and later on prominent corporate imposter David Cummings, and together they created Cummings and Kaye, the corporate celebrities, for a series of events. By invitation, Peter then joined ICMI Speakers and Entertainers Bureau in Melbourne and found himself in high demand, performing and producing events for Toyota, Cadbury Schweppes, Apple, GMH, the list of companies goes on. During the 2000 Olympics, he made a mask of the President of the International Olympic Committee, Juan Antonio Samaranch, and he was a huge hit at Olympic corporate functions all around Australia. He also made masks of the company directors of Fujitsu for some of the big events and was flown into the MCG by helicopter as George Burns for one of the AFL's huge events. Peter's crowning glory was appearing in the World Masters of Business seminars around Australia with General Norman Schwarzkopf, Rene Rivkin and the former Russian President Mikhail Gorbachev. Peter's star was well and truly shining, but unfortunately his health wasn't. Concerned about a recent weight gain and having already recovered from a stroke back when doing Laugh Attack, Peter had tests and was diagnosed with tonsil cancer. This was immediately treated successfully with radiotherapy, and eventually Peter returned to the stage, appearing with America's Dionne Warwick and Jack Jones on one of the many Hilton tours. From there he joined Liz Taylor. No, not America's Liz Taylor, that would be me. And with many successful corporate performances in his celebrity-filled show, A Night with the Stars, and I'm looking forward to doing it again at Panthers on Friday, Peter. The very first ACE Awards at Canterbury Hurlstone Park RSL was produced and directed by Peter Kaye. He penned the ACE poem, wrote parody lyrics for many of the songs, and after the awards, Peter was diagnosed with lung cancer and had part of his lung removed. It took time to recuperate, so he declined the offer to continue producing the ACE Awards, but did continue to write material for the shows and was instrumental in writing the memorable parody of the song Nola for Paul Martell when Paul hosted the 2002 ACE Awards. And it seems only recently that Peter made a brief appearance as Kevin Rudd at the 13th Annual ACE Awards. And so to the present day. As Ray mentioned, Peter is still performing and when not on stage, spends time using his creative talent, painting and creating posters for clubs, shows and other performers. Creating and performing are well and truly etched into Peter's DNA. It's what and who he is, and he will probably never stop. As Peter would say, it's what I do. I'm an entertainer.
I'm an entertainer. I'm standing up here on the stage. Look at me. I'm an entertainer. Do you think that a man of my age should perform like a clown? But that's just what we are. And it pays for the house and the boat and the car. And I'm hoping one day that you'll make me a star. So I'm standing up here.
It's very, very extraordinary. He is even more than anyone that is. Democracy of England, of course. And the person asked about the question about royalty would, of course, be a...
I'm an entertainer, and I hope that you like what I do. Look at me. I'm an entertainer, and I'm up here performing just for you.
It's really right, 'cause we're all true parties and we'll tell you, mate. I won't be stuck for words, and just to prove I'm a star, I'll slip in and yes, the four of me.
Like the audience laughing and crying, the more shake me by the hand as I walk through the door. So I'm standing up here on the stage. We choose the roads that we take in this life. You know, some men can be happy with 2 kids and a wife. But all that I need from this institute.
Let it out, let it ring, for the sound of country music across the land. While the bass and the drums keep the band in time. Sorry, I guess on the show.
I'm an entertainer who is longing to show you his craft. And then when I leave you, give one last hurrah as I carry my bags and my props to the car. And who knows, one day you may make me that star if you're
Yeah, well, it looks like somebody else. I can't put my finger on it, but Peter, is Primrose Day celebrated as a holiday in England? You'd have to be an Englishman to answer this.
There's no such holiday in Britain.
Oh, well done.
Peter Kaye.
Not Peter Kaye again.
We've only rehearsed one question.
Try another. Which head is telling the gag?
He's lucky he can take his off at the end of this time.
If you're lonely, remember my name. Remember my
To present the Lifetime Achievement Award, please welcome back Peter Newell from Clubs New South Wales. Welcome, Peter. Showbiz has and always will be part of Peter Kaye, if not on stage, then producing, creating, writing, and continuing to add to his body of work. This truly is a man who has a lifetime of achievements, and it gives me the greatest pleasure to be the one sharing this moment with my dear friend and mentor. Please put your hands together for Peter Kaye.
My bum's sore. I said that after the first act. I stood up and stood next to Paul Martell, and I said, my bum's sore. And he said, what a great opening line. And he was right. No wonder he's such a bloody good comic. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't see a bloody thing now. May I just say thank you very much for that wonderful static of it. I didn't expect that. Thank you very much indeed. You're all wonderful. God bless you. Thank you very much. And I'd like to thank the lovely Lizzie there for that wonderful presentation. Wasn't that fantastic? And Ray, great presentation. When I saw that, I thought I was dead. I'd also like to thank the lovely Fiona Gage. I've worked with her over the years. She did a fantastic job tonight, didn't she? Liz Starr, Fiona Gage. What a great night. Come on, give them a big round of applause. Wonderful, Fiona. This is the best. Give us back your book. Give us back. I want you to hold it longer. You have to at your age. This is a fantastic award. This is the best award of the night because no one loses. And it's a lifetime achievement award. Lifetime. God sake. Do you know, I was out shopping the other day with my wife Sue, and I looked in a shop window and I saw this little old man, and I realised it was me. And believe me, kids, when you look in the shop window and you see that, you think, well, kids, enjoy the sunshine. The winter will come far too bloody soon, I can tell you. Funny enough, I'm sitting over there with at the table with Dennis McNamara. You know Dennis? You remember Dennis? Dennis was the one who created the first ACE Awards. Give him a big round of applause. Dennis McNamara. He's coming up to 70. Ray Northey, he's in his 70s. I'm in my 70s. Our wives are in their 70s. And my son is 42. And he turned to me and he said, you know, Dad, sitting at this table is like looking at the cast from the movie Cocoon. Now, this really is a big night for me because I'm missing my kitchen rules. And I'd like to thank the sponsor, Club New South Wales, for this magnificent award. I really would. I'd like to thank the ACE Awards committee, and I'd like to thank my wife for being with me for that lifetime. God bless you. I could not have picked a better woman. Really. I'd like to thank my friends for staying with me for these many, many years, staying alongside me, being my friends. I'd like to thank all the entertainers that I've worked with in Australia. I'd like to thank them for accepting me into the Australian entertainment world. Because coming from England, who's this pommy bastard, you know what I mean? And they accepted me. I'd like to thank all the musos that I've worked with for not getting the shits because I use backing tracks. Some of them did, but I mean... But you know, when I was told by the ACE committee that I was going to be getting this award, I was very humbled. I really was. I was because look, so many famous Australians have received this lifetime achievement award. I mean, as Peter mentioned, all those famous people. I mean, I think Brian Henderson got one, Glenn Shorrock, the Deltones, Lucky Star. So many famous people, and I think I'm the only one I've never heard of. You know, when you reach 70, you obviously start to think about retirement. And I remembered the words that... I was talking to Brian Doyle. Remember Brian Doyle, the great Irish comic? What a great comic he was. He still is, eh? And we were talking about retirement, and he said, you know, Peter, you don't retire in show business. Show business retires you. And it's true. He said the phone just stops ringing. And that's right, it does. The phone just stops ringing. Mine hasn't stopped ringing, but it doesn't ring half as much as it used to. No, it really doesn't. In fact, I was looking in the diary the other day, and I've got more doctors and specialist appointments than I've got shows. I do these days, the shows, I don't do the normal sort of audiences that I used to. I do them now to the senior citizens. I do the senior citizen shows, you know. All the old people, they don't think I'm very funny, but they wet themselves anyway. And don't worry, you're all going there. But I have enjoyed my lifetime making people laugh. I really have. And you know, the late, great, wonderful Robin Williams once said that laughter is an enema for the soul. Isn't that a fabulous line? Laughter is an enema for the soul. And if that's the case, I want to thank you all for giving me a Lifetime Achievement Award for giving people the shits. Thank you.
Peter, before you go, I'd like to draw your attention to the screen. Do you remember this routine that you used to do in Copycats years ago? Fiona and I were chatting and we were thinking, well, we were wondering what that routine would look like today, Peter.
I knew there was going to be a price to pay.
Come on.
Well, all right, I'll do it, but I'll tell you what.
Yes.
I don't sing anymore, and you people are about to find out why. Hit it, Joe! Standing on this stage. Oh yes, it's me. At this grand old age. Yes, I am old and weary, and this feeling's really eerie, because I'm still being followed by my entourage. Come on, boys. These are the very old people in my life. They follow me around with that device. I think they've grown as old as me. The question now would seem to be, will they follow me into the afterlife? These are the geriatrics that I see. Now I can't remember. Can they all be me? Yes, they're all deaf, can't hear what's said, and what's more, they're constipated. I might be wrong, that might be only me. All right, I taught him this. Look at that. I do that every morning before I get up.
Hey, Peter, you've still got those moves.
Oh, go get 'em, boys. Now these are the really old people in my life. The very really old people in my life. With bladders weak and full of pee, that's why they dance so gingerly. I live with all these people, these really worn out people. These are the really old people in my life. Yeah.
Congratulations again to Peter Kaye on his Lifetime Achievement Award.
Wow, how good was that? Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause. Peter Kaye. Oh, remember so many fab moments, a lot of midday moments as well.